Hello again, friends. How you living? It's Brian Prime here. I will keep this short, but I wanted to say a couple of things really quick. First off, I am returned from Wasteland Weekend, where I had a fantastic time and managed to survive the Mojave Desert intact, and I met so many wonderful people. If I met you at Wasteland and you have found your way here to Void Signal, thank you so much. I am very grateful for any amount of time anybody ever gives me, and welcome to Void Signal. With that said, Void Signal is ad-free and powered by people. I am the person who powers it, and if you would like to help contribute to the creation of more ad-free Void Signal, you can visit voidsignal.net or patreon.com/voidsignal. And for as little as $2 per month, you can help me do more of this. So thank you so much for your consideration. I hope you're well. That's it. So until next time, friends, stay safe, stay loud, and take care. Bye. Welcome to Void Signal. Tonight, I'm joined by my co-host, AJ Applejack, and my guest tonight is Asha Omega, DJ and a bunch of things, a person. Thank you for coming on the show. And you do a lot of things and are involved in much. And I don't want to blow you up too much before you have a chance to speak for yourself. But yeah, thank you for coming on. And how is your evening?
Thank you for having me. It's all right. Just finishing up with my day job, which can be a little bit of a stress, but also pretty rewarding. I'm a therapist by day, so just getting off of that. But that being said, it's been going pretty well.
Let me ask this question. It's like the first thing that leaps to mind. DJ of gothic industrial-y stuff. And that's like the passion, and that's a thing you love. Not that you don't love your day job or anything, but how much sort of overlap does working in therapy, how much overlap is there with DJing?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Is that? Oh my
That
God, thank you.
is an excellent question. I can try to give a little fast anecdote about the background with my DJ name. My DJ name is OmegaTelik, and it actually comes from the term autotelic, which is a phrase that we find in positive psychology. And it's about the concept of flow. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but basically a flow state is when everything in the world is just working for you and you feel yourself transcend space and time. So thinking about people talk about runner's high, or you're killing it in a video game, or you're performing and just lose track of space and time. And it's something that is just a little bit challenging, but within your wheelhouse. And it's a thing that you do just to do for you. And so that type of activity is called autotelic activity. And so I was already using the name Asha Omega, which has kind of its own backstory. So I end up going with OmegaTelik, change the C to a K to hopefully help emphasize that sound at the end. But the idea of OmegaTelik was to show that dancing and music for me is one of the biggest and best and strongest ways that I do transcend space and time and find that sense of flow. And so I wanted to reflect my passion, and I also wanted to reflect what I wanted to provide the dance floor, which is ecstasy or catharsis or that type of flow. Having already used the name Omega, I had that, and then thinking of Asha Omega is to play on Alpha Omega, so the ultimate means to an end, and playing with all of that. Basically, my DJ name does come from psychology, and some of the things that I find really important when talking to clients from a strength space perspective of what brings them a sense of purpose and meaning in life and what feeds them. So I think there's just some underlying passions there that draw me to all sorts of parts of these fields. I think when people listen to my music, they tend to know it's me DJing pretty fast based on the angsty, sexy, or angry, or salty music I'm playing. Is usually very full of emotions or energy. And for me, I used to strategically try to weave a narrative, and nowadays it just comes out. I listen to it afterwards and I'm like, oh, yeah, I was feeling that way that day. The story just writes itself. And thinking about how music is its own form of therapy or expression of therapy throughout the mental health world, it seems to correspond that way. And as well as with being a DJ and a promoter who believes in embracing, sorry for the noise, part for the diversity and inclusivity and trying to make things feel safe, this paradigm shift that like we're people and we want to be people. I also do that in the therapy world as someone who specializes with queer folks, kinky folks, polyamorous folks, and I myself being a part of those communities. It's like, how do we interact in the communities in which we serve? And
Mhm.
so find appropriate boundaries while also being as authentic to ourselves as we can. And
Mhm.
so encouraging my clients to seek out community spaces in which they feel safe, seen, and some passion. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of overlap in weird sort of ways and maybe some more overt ways too.
Sure. It sounds very much like your world
Mhm,
is a cohesive experience from start to finish. Like it feels like your day job and your passion job and everything else that you're involved in allows you to just be yourself almost all of the time. Is what it sounds like. Is
yeah,
that?
absolutely.
And be
Yeah.
authentic, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
That was
that's
probably one of my favorite responses I've ever heard from anybody. Um,
yeah.
that was great. I also really
Thank
like
you.
how there's this very small handful of people who do name either their DJ name or their band name after something related to psychology. I get a little excited when I
Hmm.
hear what they're inspired by. Vanessa's band Ratio Strain, that comes from
Yeah.
psychology. So listening to her and her motivation behind that and all that, and
Hmm.
listening to you just now explain why that piece of positive psychology stuck with you,
Hmm.
just
Yeah.
gives my heart a little.
It's like flow. So,
And
pause.
you can
Like
learn so
science
much from
and
other people. Like that resonates so much with me.
yeah,
I'm not even kidding. I pulled up a Google tab and typed in OmegaTelik right away because that's
Mm.
very much a thing that I
yeah.
resonate
It's
with that very much.
it's the
Mhm.
closest thing to spirituality for
Right.
me. Is that's why like I think of transcendence. I even use the term transcendence in my private practice.
Mm,
Like it's
Mm.
spirituality, it's science, it's magic. It's all about intention and then letting
sure.
the like universe take you where it's going to take you
Mm.
Yeah.
and believing in the authentic self. So I tend to say that I need to be as authentic as possible within appropriate boundaries in all areas.
Mm.
I like that.
I agree. And I do.
With appropriate boundaries. I love that. That's
Yes.
Mm.
something that I need to add on to mine as well too. I just get excited. It's not anything like
Mm.
problematic or terrible or anything. I just want to share my life with people sometimes.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm a
And I.
big hugger. I had to teach myself to
Feeling
ask
seen is a
first.
very human response.
Yes.
Mm. Yeah. One thing I wanted to touch on really quick is that I very much enjoy is the idea, and it's something I've endeavored to do myself. Like I'm going to finally purchase a DJ controller and start trying to DJ as well. But it's a thing that I've started to think of it differently, and your words activated that in me again of the thought of my music, like not produced by me, but I'm taking it and choosing it, and it is a color palette that I am dipping from, and I am crafting
Yeah.
a thing. I'm weaving these things together to form something new that others get to experience.
Yeah.
That's an exciting aspect of it, I think.
Yeah, when I first started DJing, I just wanted to tell a story and hopefully
Hmm.
press buttons at the right time. And basically thought a lot of it as found poetry or when people write stories and they're inspired by greatness that came before them. And it's just such a way to communicate primal thoughts, even when you have music that doesn't necessarily have a whole lot of lyrics to it.
Mm.
Like you can take what the author gave you and also make it something more for yourself personally.
Mm.
But I definitely love the idea of creating something that is mine while also, and this is maybe from just grad school too, but like proper citations, right?
Hmm.
So that's why I'm really big on writing up my set list all
Hmm.
the time. And I tag and post as many artists as I can that I played from, and I do not play music that I did not purchase. So it's proper citations, references
Yeah.
for this like story
What would
slash
my
essay I
ethics
just wrote
professor say
you.
about this?
Yeah,
Right.
but definitely it's so I actually was a little hesitant to say that first until someone, I think over the last year and a half, was like, "No, you're an artist too." And I was like, "Fuck
Mm.
off." And they're like, "Oh, really?"
No, you really are. Everything
So I
you're
was like,
saying
"Ooh,
right now is
special."
exactly how I feel about drawing. I just started figure drawing today again for the
Mhm.
first time in a decade because I want to start telling stories by doing these quick little gesture drawings in my silly little notebook that I keep in my purse for when I'm having anxiety in the moment on a bus or whatever. I just want to
Yeah.
do these little storytelling doodles. Like
Mhm.
you're talking about this stuff and I'm literally thinking about drawing. So you are
Mhm.
absolutely an artist.
Thank you.
Music's just your medium.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Agreed. Because music is already a translation of emotion in some way, or a translation of the
Mhm.
ethereal.
Mhm.
It makes sense to use that to try and construct something new. I'm a big fan of multimodal art.
Yeah.
Here's like a music video with text, and here's the lyrics,
Yeah.
and like the full sort of sensory representation of a thing. And I think that's a great part of the nightclub experience, and being out having a DJ who has given some thought to what is going to be played and the lights and crafting. You're paying to go have a good time, and maybe whatever that person is going through, maybe you'll hear a song that speaks to you in a moment that you needed it to, and you happen to be there. I'm a big fan of going out and supporting DJs and stuff. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. It definitely can become this very vulnerable, almost like exhibitionist, voyeuristic kind of experience where, especially when I go in with, here's my headspace, and I just am gonna fucking spill all of my emotional guts on this dance floor right now. And I think sometimes folks really resonate with that and appreciate the rawness. And it's probably the only area of my life that I can be that raw.
Hmm.
And
Mhm.
it's can be a really powerful thing to have someone be able to, in the therapy world, we say sit with those feelings, right?
Mhm.
But we have
Hmm.
these people like in a cathartic movement with you in these emotions. And back in good days with dancing, stomping around industrial rape days, one of our favorite things we would say back in Albany was dancing with your friends, in quotes. Some of the most powerful moments when the dance floor has this level of synchronicity
Hmm.
and everyone's just moving right in time with each other. And it's
Oh
just
yeah.
this very, what's the word I'm looking for?
I
Collective,
l-
unconscious kind of feel,
I love
all in it
watching those
together.
moments, so I can only imagine how you must feel as a DJ getting to see it, even from the angles that you guys are at sometimes.
Hmm.
You sometimes DJs get that little platform a bit.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like seeing it in the
Yeah.
crowd is cool, but oh, I can't. Oh, that's gotta be so cool.
And I think that's like a thing of wanting to see the crowd while DJing. I have some folks tease me about being like a diva, and I'm like, industrial diva, thank you very much. I'm sorry, I actually dance behind the deck. But also to see the people and interact with them is so much more powerful. I hate being in a box where I can't see people. Like having this shared
Mhm.
experience is what kept me DJing. I was actually very hesitant to do it because dancing was so incredibly important to me. But it definitely is its own beautiful story to
Mm.
have.
Mm. Excellent discussion. I agree. On to, I wanted to ask you, I saw recently on the socials that you were retiring from being resident DJ. Is that right? Am I understanding that
Oh,
right?
yeah. Yeah, I am stepping down as a resident DJ from Resist in Albany,
Mm.
and a number of things went into that decision, and the very bittersweet, right? Grew up in Albany. I've been a part of the Albany goth scene since I started
Mm.
doing the whole goth thing. I was a promoter for Next Humanity, which was the goth night that came out of other goth nights right before the pandemic hit. That got really big. That's when I started DJing, and just with kind of healing from what I like to refer to as the Great Goth Wars of 2020. Out of that, developing Resist with a team that felt really good and still fully believe in our message. I think that Twitch was a great way to connect with other people that share this message of um, encouraging and pushing that paradigm shift of saying safety and inclusivity, diversity. We actually named the club Resist because some other folks in the area were saying that we were a political movement hiding behind a goth club. So we said, fuck it, named ourselves Resist.
Just leaned right into it.
Yeah.
Because we're also trolls. All of my epithets and DJ tags are all insults. I fucking love it. Just keep telling my mythology. But that being said, Albany has a complicated place in my heart, and I moved to Hartford, Connecticut about a year and a half ago, and I'm a resident DJ at Sanctuary CT down in New Haven, Connecticut. I helped these kids start up a goth night in Hartford called Psychopomp, and it's the first goth night in Hartford in like over 10 years.
Wow.
And
Excellent.
like I wanted to do that when I got here, didn't have the spoons. The first event was amazing. Talk about that community, collective, unconscious, queer magic. It was diverse, old, young, folks from all sorts of ethnicities, backgrounds, new to the scene, old to the scene. It was beautiful. And it was like, I need to put my energy into this. And I don't live in Albany anymore. So I wanted to create some space and also focus on being OmegaTelik and Asha Omega versus I wanted to separate that connection. But it seemed to be misleading to stay on as a resident when I wanted to pull back from that and focus on other things. So
Sure.
stepping down was a gesture to that. I'd already stepped down from being a promoter a bit ago because immediately that was like, I can't do that if I don't live in Albany. But it's still my community too. I think we get really focused on cities when we talk about scenes, and that's so changed through Twitch. And even before that, like I've been clubbing and traveling for years, like across North America. I've been to England for Resistance and know so many people that I don't feel like I'm part of just a city scene anymore. And with Twitch, that really blew those borders up. Like people who come to Resist are from all over, like New England and the Northeast. Anyone who comes to Hartford is going to be so successful because we're getting people from Western Mass, Eastern New York, or Southern Connecticut.
Western New
People from
York.
everywhere is coming. Maybe.
No, for sure. I went.
No, talking about Hartford. But yes, but also Resist, right?
Yeah.
People from everywhere.
Sorry, I misunderstood. But people
no, it's okay. I was saying for
everywhere.
both, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like,
you really
like we want to be more. I think Resist is in a bit of a transitional period. And so when that settles into the new year, I really want to go back as at least a frequent guest DJ. But right now, basically pulling back to focus on Connecticut and fostering like guest DJ spots that I'm doing. So
That makes sense. I'm glad that there are, and thank you for helping grow new goth nights and stuff, because I'm all for people like forming a thing that is not there. There recently here in Sacramento, there was a goth night that somebody just, I'm going to start this thing and it's going to be in this Mexican restaurant after it closes, and cool, fucking let's do it. It sounds great. Let's just fucking take over a place and have a fucking party and get together. Cool. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Because you get to have community, and that's what so many of us need. And that kind of ties back around to your main field of study and everything, of like therapy and the feeling of belonging and everything. I do feel like there is a lot of just overlap for you in that respect of like community and building and bringing people together. Do you find yourself after doing a DJing event or having a DJ night, going back to doing therapy the next day, what are your sort of feelings in that moment?
So after doing a DJ gig and then going back to the day job.
Yeah.
Like those feelings.
Yeah.
Despite what it may look like on the internet, I am actually quite introverted and tend to be quite drained after a gig. And so I try really hard not to see clients immediately the day after, because I've just expended like a lot of energy and people spoons, and being a therapist while being more introverted and therapy is helpful because I'm interacting with one person at a time. But even then, I want to make sure I have some energy. And so I usually try to have some time just from a physical, build some spoons up. But I really notice when I have a gig that I thought went really, and I felt really connected with
Mm-hmm.
my own music that I was playing, with my own body, right? Like being in my body is super important. So
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a lot of pains. I felt like I got to dance a little bit. I felt like people really enjoyed it, or people were really excited for me, that I feel empowered, right? It's, as my therapist says, we got to fight that imposter syndrome by accepting compliments, accepting the positive feedback. And
Mm-hmm.
that when we talk about trauma y type stuff, we want to rewire it. And a lot of people just talk about sitting in distress and overcoming a negative thing to help rewire our brain and nervous system. But when we accept positive experiences, also rewire it. And so
Mm-hmm.
sometimes in stronger ways. I don't know if I'm explaining that okay.
Yes.
So if I have a positive DJ gig, people compliment me or are really excited about me, and I can sit with that without shunning away from it or going, oh no, I was awful, or oh no, these people actually don't like me, but actually sit with that gratitude and appreciation and love. It definitely have a surge of energy to go into, I think, therapy spaces, because I feel more secure in myself, so I can better provide a safe space for other people to be vulnerable. Maybe I feel safer to poke at something of theirs or challenge them a little bit more that day, or maybe
Mm-hmm.
my presentation is just a little different. Like all of us are quite hypervigilant, observant creatures, and so
Mm-hmm.
can read shifts in humans. But I definitely see that positive
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
overflow too.
Yeah.
Excellent. Fantastic answer. Okay, shifting gears a little bit. What do you think the role of the DJ is in regards to the our dark music community?
Ooh, that's a cool question.
That is a cool question. I feel like there's so many different perspectives that can be brought onto that.
Yeah.
And I ask
Um,
that as somebody who I've had my, I'll just preface this a little bit. I say that I ask that as somebody who's had my opinion changed because I wanted to be a DJ when I was younger, but then I was like, met a lot of people who were like, I'm a DJ, and they push placebo buttons or twist placebo knobs. And what are you actually doing? And I didn't have an appreciation for it until maybe the last couple of years when I've actually taken the time to be like, this is what, see good ones and be around people who take it seriously and who are
mm-hmm.
not attaching a label to themselves that maybe they don't deserve, right? They are pretending at a
Yeah.
thing. So after gaining that appreciation, I'm curious to hear what role within this kind of greater strata of like, where do you think DJs rest in the current sort of playing field, if you will?
Right. That is difficult to say one role. I think it's really multifaceted. I
Mm,
can say that I think it's really important for people to keep their ego in check.
Mm.
And especially, I think, in small communities, like it can really feed like this unhealthy sense of importance. And I say that because then I tend to see people acting out in ways that aren't good, because they can then hide behind that like social currency and image. With that being said, once you're in a space that people see and respect,
mm,
someone sees a person on stage, you're dressed up, you're moving, you're bringing the music, like you're perceived to be like in charge of the night, like you're going to have an inherent sense of responsibility,
mm,
and you be like mindful of that when you're interacting with folks. So try not to get yourself on that pedestal. I don't know if I'm explaining that correctly. I can come back to those thoughts, but
mm,
I see DJs as someone who is providing a space and soundtrack to facilitate a emotional connective experience. So people go out to dance to be around their friends, maybe to escape everyday life. I know
mm,
I know dancers when I see dancers, people who just come out and just need to dance the entire time they're out there. I think that there's a balance with DJs bringing new music to the dance floor, as well as bringing music that folks are requesting and love, but there has to be a balance. I think
Like the
DJs
classic
have,
favorites.
yeah, and but also learning the night. So when I start Now I can do it through a lot of even my guest DJ gigs because of
Mhm.
the crossover. But I know people and I know what they dance to. Like I will recognize people and I will understand what
Got
genres
it.
they tend to prefer. Or if they have specific requests, even if it's something I might not play all the time, but if they come and they ask me, and when it depends, I want to be able to do that for the person. And that there's a sense of joy you get out of someone being so excited to see the song that they like requested
Mhm.
get
Mm,
played. And so I feel like I can do that, especially, and then I get extra joy if it fits in what I'm actually doing. I'm like, universe has spoken, it has to happen. Sometimes it feels like maybe almost being
Mhm.
like some sort of like preacher, priest to higher gods, right? Like you're bringing the music
yeah.
from the larger stratosphere of artists into people's ears and they're feeling it in their body. And then they can
Mhm.
find the music afterwards, or they come up to me and be like, what did you play this? When did you do that? So it's like this role of being mindful. You don't necessarily have to be a community leader, but be mindful that you can be seen as one. So there's a sense of responsibility there and boundary setting, but you can be like educating, but maybe one of those like fun professors that make it a collaborative experience, maybe some sort of, like I said, preacher type,
Mhm.
bringing this type of new like lessons or ideas. You're also wanting to facilitate the energy, the dance floor. I think some folks would maybe say entertainer, but I also don't want to be a jukebox too. It's, I think, a
You put that
DJ's
on a
role.
shirt, didn't you?
Yeah, that was totally Kim's. That was Kim's.
Sure.
Saying. So
Oh,
she really wanted that. Or case
I
back,
love
DJ case
her.
back. Yes, it was
What a
definitely on a
treasure.
shirt. It was,
Amazing. Yeah.
yeah, it was,
Mhm.
I
uh,
remember that shirt.
I used to be very uncomfy with requests because my various learning difficulties make it used to make it very hard to do music in the moment. I had to do a lot of planned DJ sets, and now
Mhm.
I'm don't have to do that at all. But real, like it was really seeing the appreciation that somebody had and the
Sure.
connections that they got with you with the request. And again, but then I get frustrated with folks who get really angry when I don't play the request. I really appreciate someone. If you could do this, it'd be awesome. Or can we try to work it in? I had somebody request a thing this past weekend, and I had one track by the artist and there was no way I was fitting it in. And later in the night, she came up to me and she's like, are you going to play any of the blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, I'm not DJing anymore. I'm really sorry. I tried. And she's, no, it's totally okay. It's okay. Everything was great.
Mhm.
I had a really fun time. Thank you so much. And I'm like, okay, cool. Sorry, we just had that weird interaction, but I'm glad we're all good.
Yeah.
But there was just this human aspect of it. I feel like I'm using a lot of kind of spiritual terms here around music, but like
No.
demigods versus like
Mhm.
people who are in your presence and just respecting them
Mhm.
and understanding your power that you have in the room with a power differential. Literally, like you're above them most of the time, right?
Mhm.
And I think there is a duty to bring newer music to the crowd
Mhm.
Mhm.
in a way that's not pretentious. And there's a way to bring favorites to the crowd without being pretentious.
Mhm.
There's
So,
definitely a way to integrate them together without being
absolutely.
a twat about it.
Yeah.
Is the TLDR really?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Facilitator, professor,
Sure.
uh, priest,
Mhm.
performer.
Gonna
I
take
know
some
definitely.
teamwork, but we can do it
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
type of
People
Yeah.
come
stuff.
out to see me for different reasons, whether it's my music or the way that I DJ.
Mhm.
So I definitely feel a bit like that performance facilitating
Sure.
educator and maybe a caretaker almost.
Sure, that makes sense. I would almost say the host of the evening. Well, everybody's having a good time, sort of a thing. But I understand what you mean when you use a lot of the religious language because it's
Mhm.
I am not this thing. I am a herald of this thing. It is
Yeah.
a thing
Yeah.
that has affected me, and I love so much that I am here to share it with
Hmm.
you.
Yes, 100%.
So yeah, that makes sense. I have 2 questions I'm going to get to before we are not out of time. I
Yeah.
can do as long as I want, but
This is the Wild West. We do whatever we want. We go as long as we
I
want,
Yeah.
talk a
though.
lot.
We
You ask
do
me an
respect
open-ended
Aja's
question.
time.
yes, I
Yeah.
am going to be respectful of your time or whatever. So I did want to put this question to you as well. So as a DJ, do you feel respected by artists in our scene?
Oh, good question. I think so. I
Okay.
don't think I've experienced someone who was disrespectful towards me as a DJ. I think most of my experiences with artists have been one of like gratitude and excited if like I played their music or know their music, or for friends who are just starting to like actually write music and perform. I like to throw their songs out there, maybe take a video of the crowd enjoying it and send it to them or whatnot. I Yeah, I think I've definitely have felt not only respected, but people being grateful. And I
Mhm.
think some of the biggest compliments though is when someone actually listens to one of my mixes and they're like, wow, that was a really cool thing you did with my song. And then I'm like,
Because they could just as easily be like, wow, you butchered my song. How dare
yeah,
you? Don't you ever touch my music ever again. So,
yeah, yeah. No, I love when folks are just, I think one of the things I love about our scene is
Mhm.
how personable a lot of people are and like the artists. And there's definitely musicians, the bigger wigs out there who can be a little standoffish and not approachable, but so many folks I have met have been so approachable and I can call a friend in some sort of capacity. So most of my experiences have been one of respect and gratitude for sure.
Okay. That's a relief to hear. I wasn't, to be candid, I wasn't sure what the answer was going to be because who knows? Okay, that's a relief. So I will go ahead and, unless Applejack, do you have any questions? Otherwise, I'm going to just go ahead and hit the last question of the show.
get that last question.
Okay, let's do it. Last question of the show is just what is something that you have been enjoying recently? And your answer can be anything book, TV show, movie. Just what's something that you are
Something
jazzed
unhinged.
about? Something fucking unhinged.
Something benign.
And
Anything.
yeah, anything. And if you need a second to, we're all going to answer this question. So if you need a moment,
Oh,
you do not have to go first.
yeah, I definitely need a moment. So.
Okay. All right. Applejack, you got something?
Oh, the two-headed skeleton I found
Oh,
at the
fuck.
store that I told you about.
Cool. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad we
Oh,
came
yeah,
back to
great.
this. Yeah, you and
Yeah.
your weird multi-headed animal taxidermy.
Oh my god.
Hey,
Aja,
hey.
this guy came to
Uh.
visit in Salem, and we were walking around, and I go, "Oh my god, no, I don't like these. I don't like single-headed animals or something completely unhinged, like in the middle of Salem.
Yeah.
You've been there before. I mean,
Yes,
people
yes.
everywhere. That's great. I meant taxidermy, but
Yeah.
didn't really say that, didn't make that clear.
Right.
And then we were at the vintage shop or whatever, and this guy comes over and he's, oh, I knew I'd see you here with all this old shit.
I got you so good. It was
He
great.
got me so good.
It was a good time, even if your
God.
chicken taxidermy preoccupation is unsettling or whatever. Oh, Asha is a therapist. You can talk after.
Yeah.
You can get the
Yeah, Aja, what exactly has to break in someone's brain to give them an obsession with multi-headed chicken ball taxidermies?
Inquire.
I don't know. There might be
Yeah,
something
right?
there with modern dinosaurs. Like I'm pretty obsessed with dinosaurs, though.
Yes, I like where
Talk
this
about
is
some
going.
childhood trauma there around like
It's actually
favorite
just that I watched
dinosaur
The
died.
Land Before Time way too
Yes,
many
yes,
times, and
Ooh,
it just
yes.
eviscerated my
Everything
heart.
merged. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
there we go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Fucking Littlefoot.
oh,
That movie eviscerated me too.
Yeah, to give a little bit more of a serious answer, I have been moving more into fall decor. Home decor is something that I have not really dabbled much into. I either could never afford it, I never knew what I was doing, or I just didn't have time to sit down and think about these things. So moved to the new place in March. So I got this new bedroom all to myself. So I'm like, all right, we're gonna figure this out. So I'm having a blast. But so moving over into doing some fall things. I have these couple of midsummer shirts that I don't wear anymore that I cut the design out and I framed.
Nice.
And they're like yellow, orange, and red. So it's very fall. So moving into that and just planning what I want to do and what I want to create with my space and how I want to make it mine but fall.
I feel like I should definitely do something like that because I
Yeah,
just my sheets and my comforter and everything, it's all just fucking mental
Who are you but
It's
fall?
just mental health gray all the time. I feel
Right
like
now
I need
it's
to
home
change.
decor season, so
Mhm.
everything
Yeah.
becomes spooky in the stores, and that's when I start buying home
Right.
decor.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I
Home
have
decor.
my maybe
Yeah, and you
answer.
can frame almost anything. If you just go to the store and get some magazines, you can rip out cool pages that you find cool and just pop them in some cheap frames that you get at Michael's. Like you can get 5 packs of them. Or like you can buy zines from local creators, or you can go to local art shops or art fests or flea markets or things like that. But like you can do so many cool DIY stuff too.
Mhm.
I'm learning.
Yeah. And it is
I'm having a great time.
yeah, I was going to say it is a good thing because you're like exercising some control over your environment and like, oh, I'm
And
gonna put this,
creativity.
yeah, I'm going to do
Yeah.
this thing for me that I get to enjoy every day. Yeah.
Yeah. An
Sometimes
empty
I
box.
don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, AJ, this sucks. Do better next time.
Yeah. Yeah. Asha, what you got your answer?
Yeah, so
Okay.
2 things. I am pretty involved in the rope or shibari community around here. So I've been doing more with helping build some community around that, and that's been exciting to be doing that much more often. And I've also gone full on plant daddy and am like obsessed with plants now. So my apartment is covered
Mhm.
in them. And
Real ones or
it's
fake ones?
real both actually, but
Okay. I
the
only do
real one,
fake. I can't do real. Not yet. I only do fake. Which real ones do you
yeah,
have?
I have a lot. And some I don't even really know the names of, to be honest with you. I have
You were just
names
like,
of
you're
them.
cute. You're coming home with me.
When I first moved in, I decided to brave and bought a few plants, and I have, I think, 1, 2, maybe 3 that are still alive from my original ones. And my one that I call my monster is I think it's a pathos, it's called. It's like one of those very viney ones with the big green leaves, and it is huge now. I actually read a little article before coming into this interview about someone having to cut theirs back because they were moving, and mine is all intertwined with like my windowsills and my cabinets. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm never moving. I can't ever remove this plant. I can't cut it. I won't. So it's just like this funny moment of how connected I have become with this weird little hobby that I don't really know exactly what I'm doing, but doing a lot of it. Pretty cool.
Gotcha. That's a good answer. I'm not going to try and grow a thing. And it's funny too because that's your answer. And
Well, that's exactly why I can only do fake ones. I don't ask me to.
I really thought I couldn't do it. It was amazing. And this summer I did what I called my Morning Glory training project. I have a huge porch. And so I planted a bunch of Morning Glories and made them these weird fences and was trying to train them and do all these things. And it's kind of works. I think bugs got to them and it got cold overnight a few times. So some of them are dying, but some of them are actually starting to bloom. And it's very exciting, as well as what I've been calling guerrilla planting and putting seeds around the apartment to be like,
Gorilla
look, now there are
planting.
flowers. It's a weird little thing that I thought I would never get into because I was convinced I'd kill everything.
Yeah, it's funny that that's your answer too, because like yesterday morning I interviewed Mobius and Zafu, and Bijan, who's Zafu, that was his answer. He was like, oh, I've been growing my plants. And I'm like, okay, hats off, man. I can't
It's like being
grow
a tiny
plant.
god.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, too much pressure. Sorry.
Too much pressure.
I got a dog.
I
I'm
don't
keeping
like being a
alive,
disappointment.
Yeah, my doggo, he's easier because she tells me very loudly.
Yeah.
She's my little gremlin princess. But
yeah, I need a thing that will move around and complain and remind me of its.
Someone told me of this wonderful plant called Planta that was also a game changer. And now many of my plants, and one of my new friends is a plant granddaddy. I don't know. They're incredibly good at it. There are ways to have technology help you if you'd like it.
Oh, okay, good to know. I will tuck that into my back pocket if I decide to try and grow something and keep it alive. Okay, what the hell is my answer? Mad Max. Honestly, I rewatched the movies because I was spurred on by watching Furiosa, replaying the game, and just Void Signal is going to Wasteland Weekend, so I'll be there.
Oh.
So like it's
Very cool.
the one thing happened after the other, like tumbled together, and it has come about, and my hype and excitement is through the roof. I've been wanting to do this for years, and I've never been camping, and we're about to go on a very extreme first one, but that's fine. Fun, excitement, new experiences. Yeah, I'm like,
It's gonna be a blast.
Yeah, I'm in full like Wasteland Mad Max mode, like just
Excellent.
consuming it in
I'm
all
jealous.
forms. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. Void Signal bottle caps are on their way. So I'll be giving those out at the thing. But yeah, I'm just like beside myself excited to not only have my first camping experience, but go to this fucking thing. It's going to be, I'm so beside myself. Yeah.
A camping event this weekend that I'm DJing at, which it's interesting to be at like camping events. There's a lot more freedom in some ways than when you're in like a hotel or venue based. But it's feels more community oriented. Maybe we can get to that like primal, like we're all trying to survive around a fire and pretend that we don't have like food trucks right behind us.
Yeah.
I hope it's good.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like a blast too. I'm excited to experience. There's something about like also experiencing like a DJ and hearing music and being outside dancing, like with the stars above you and stuff. Like it is an experience.
Something about it.
Yeah, if to anybody listening, if you've never done it, try and go to a thing that is outside so you can do that. It's interesting and fun. You'll have a good time. Yeah. That is it. I don't want to keep you too long. Thank you so much for coming and having a chat.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, it was great to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you for the insightful answers.
Yeah, the very insightful. I was, oh my God, get out of my brain. I was man. Yeah, very insightful answers. Always get a good thing to think about. I always have good takeaways when like I read something you write or.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I just casually listen to you all the time. No.
Yeah, it's either this like giant philosophical essay or one line like scrolly shit post, no in between with me. But with me at my troll,
and that's what makes it great.
Yeah, as a fellow trolly shit poster, I can absolutely appreciate that.
It's in my fine print when someone becomes my friend or starts dating me. I'm like, I am a full-on Darth Omega meme lord here. You gotta appreciate that, or it ain't gonna work.
So just an FYI.
Yeah, I appreciate that as well. It's sorry, here's my humor. It's gonna be in everything and all the time.
Yeah.
24/7.
Yeah, it's what makes people characters, right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for coming and having a chat with us. I will let you go and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Void Signal intro and outro courtesy of Processor. Visit processor2.bandcamp.com for more Processor, and visit voidsignal.net to help support the creation of more Void Signal. Stay safe, stay loud.